Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you another video. Alright, it's been a long time, it feels like. At least a week since I've taken this trip to Hollywood that I plan to take today. The skies look like it could potentially rain a little bit. I hope they don't, but I'm prepared for that if it does. I got stuff for that. But yeah, man. I feel good. I feel pretty good spiritually, mentally. Physically, I'm a little lightheaded. I've been having some issues with my stomach. I don't know what's causing it. I think it might have been like some grapes. As you guys know, anything that has any type of strong citrus to it or anything that's strong just tends to disrupt my body. And so the same issues that I had with tangerines and stuff like that and peaches lately, I think may have been with the new grapes that I purchased from a different place. I got it from what do you call it? Trader Joe's. Tried them out, and I don't know, man. I think it might have done some damage. So yeah, I threw those away, and I'll be buying what I normally buy today from Target. See if it was indeed those grapes, because that's the only thing I could think of that would otherwise have potentially been different in my diet. I haven't had any cheat meals. I haven't done anything that my body would otherwise be disrupted by, but I had a bad couple of days here. So only difference was the grapes. That's the only thing different. So I'm like, all right, I'll just toss those away and see what happens. So yeah, that's really what it's been. Just I am not 100%, but I think the exercise and the air will do good for me right now. Maybe climbing a hill or two will probably be very good for me right now. So yeah, man, just continuing to manage my gut. It's funny because over the last couple of days I've been craving food I have no business eating. Been wanting my Mexican food. I haven't had that in over a year, and I've been wanting to try fajitas. I know I can't have that. Like, my body knows I can't have that. I know I can't have that. And so I've been saying, disciplining myself against it, and then end up having some of the things that come with eating that happen while eating the stuff that I didn't want to eat that's supposed to prevent it. So that's been like a weird dynamic for me over the last 2 days, because I've really been craving chicken fajitas from this little Mexican food spot across next door. I didn't have that problem at all in 2025. I didn't try it once, I don't believe, that year. If I did, it was probably early January, like a year ago. But you know, I was disciplined all last year, did a great job of not eating nothing, learned my lesson. No, I can't eat that stuff. But these last 2 days, it's been like, man, I really have a taste for it, man. You know, it's like a ridiculous, exaggerated craving, and I just been saying, nah, I can't eat that, and it's best for me to save the money that I would otherwise spend on that. And so I've been good. I disciplined against it. And boy, man, have I not had some of the exact same issues that you would think comes with eating like that. Exact same issues. So yeah, just been kind of sick, man. Been kind of sick these last 2 days. But you know, all in all, I've still been able to do everything I normally do. Still doing my same exercise routine. Sorting through some music from my playlist stuff, doing all the Lakers stuff. Nothing has changed. Did it all. And you know, just kind of been keeping it local when I do go out. But today there's no Laker game, and I do have a few things to purchase. So I figured this would be a great day to get back to my walking and habits, and hopefully you know, restore some of my strength. You know, so that's what this is. Getting out, going to have a normal day. I've been kind of staying to myself and a little more than maybe I would like to, because of the fact that it's been so much Laker stuff that's kind of keeping me local, you know, that kind of thing. Trying to keep up with different schedules. Bible study on Sunday. Just little stuff. And yesterday, something else, it was the Lakers, I think it was also. I ended up getting up late. And by the time it was time for me to leave, it was already like 2:30, and then the game started at 6. So I'm like, nah, I didn't really feel like making a move yesterday. Wasn't feeling all that good, so I just stayed home. So yeah, I've been doing a little too much staying home, so to speak, lately. And it's time to get back out. But I think that at the same time, what I've been noticing is I'm slimming down. My stomach is a bit more slim. Ever since cutting out that meat, you know, removing beef from my everyday diet, I feel like I feel weaker. I think the lack of protein has not been good for the energy and the strength. but it's been very good for losing weight and clearing up my my overall sinuses. So, you know, it's give and take, as I was telling you guys in the last video about that. You know, talking about that, it's give and take. I'm not sure still if I'm really pleased with how my body's reacting and not having consistent protein. But I can definitely tell you I'm losing weight fast. I can tell you that much. I think I see it too. So we'll see if it works out. I'm not sure. Not really sure if I like that. I might have to put some type of protein in my meals or do it once every 2 weeks or whatever. I don't know if I want to go full vegetarian like this. I really don't know. But yeah, man, just trying to maintain, man. Just trying to, you know, deal with my mind. It's my physical, actually. My mind is fine. But deal with my body, feeling lightheaded and stuff like that right now. So it's just tough, man. You don't know what works as far as your diet. You try to discipline yourself to eat what you think will work, and then you still have some of these issues, man. It's just, I don't know what works. I'm frustrated, tired of it, but ready to eat what I want to eat. Can't, you know what I mean? But still maintaining my discipline, still maintaining my respect for the limitations of my diet at this point, and what my body can handle and what it can't, and then hopefully finding some kind of solution. Of course, I already had the doctor's appointment. They called me yesterday. I got to call them back. They called while I was asleep around 5 p.m. I took myself a daytime nap, and they called me twice, so I got to call them back and see what's up. I know we're expecting them to call with the results on, I think the 6th, February, 9 a.m. on the 6th or something like that. But they may want to reach out to me sooner. Maybe they found something that they need to tell me about. Maybe they need me to come back down there or something. So I got to call them back today and remember to do that. But yeah, man, that's really what's going on with me. Just physically, I've not been 100%, not at all. Stayed home and did laundry. I think it was Saturday, so I didn't get out really, but locally. So it's just a lot of stuff. I've been kind of foregoing opportunities to get this exercise walk, and it's time to put an end to that. It's time to get that walk in. It's time to climb a hill, and I'm pretty certain by the time I get back, I will be feeling a lot better than I do right now. So that's really what it's about. It's just making my body get out here and do this. And yeah, man, I mean, aside from that, what have I been paying attention to? A bunch of Lakers stuff, obviously. Keeping up with the team. What else? Everything that's going on with ICE all over the country. From what I understand, LA could be potentially next. They're going to probably try to bring some of that Minnesota energy to us. From what I understand, that's on the way. Not surprising, because they already have given us hell. We went through this in this city with a surge of ICE activity last, what was it, about 5 months ago, when they were out here giving people hell. But I mean, this is normal for Los Angeles, man. Hey, buddy. This is normal for Los Angeles, to be honest with you. It's not abnormal to have that be a concern for our citizens in this city, man, because we have such a huge Mexican population. You know what I mean? So I've been hearing about La Migra my whole life. I've been aware that they've instilled fear in people's hearts in various different communities for decades, man. This is not at all abnormal for us here. It's not abnormal. Obviously, it's been turned up a lot with Donald Trump and his activities and all of that being as it is. It's on a different intensity, but it's never an absence of concern for people, man. It's never an absence of concern when it comes to that. And so we just continue to keep our due diligence, our vigilance is the word. Obviously, as a black person, I don't find myself particularly concerned, but I am aware at this point that all citizens need to be concerned because they're on a different mission right now. There's a certain urgency for ICE to round people up. They're not at all respecting our rights and our Constitution at all. They are completely disrespecting it and ignoring it, and they are taking people down regardless of what. They are going by all of the different things that we fought so hard in regards to not having people profiled and things like that. All these different things that we've been, pretty good about over the last 20 years that we weren't doing so well about in the 90s and early 2000s. Police would profile people, pull you over just because of skin color and stuff like that. We had gotten very good about that. But with the insertion of Donald Trump and the people behind him, they're making it a point to undo all of that, and now have people once again being racially profiled out in the open. It's just the times we're in right now. It's like they've given the finger to anything that has to do with eliminating prejudiced behaviors. They're deliberately trying to undo a lot of what progress has come in that regard. It's an attack on that specific program, man, and our norms in that regard. They want us to ultimately fear for our lives in the names of our races and be angry with one another and support the belittling of people who don't look like us and expect that we're being belittled by the people around us based on our color, and their vitriol for that. That's what they want. They want us to be a racist society without the progress that we've made over the last, say, 70 years. And that's what it is, and it's a Satanist behavior. It's a reflection of who controls this country, Israel and the Zionist Jews, and what they practice in the Middle East, in their land that they've stolen, how they continue to basically engage in apartheid behavior as it pertains to the Israelis and the Palestinians. And I believe that the agenda could potentially be more or less trying to normalize those egregious behaviors and get the support for those egregious behaviors by undoing the progress in this country. It's to say, if we start getting used to those behaviors here again, we won't have such vitriol for seeing them done elsewhere, for which they intend to continue doing them again and going forward. That's what I think this is. If you want people to be fine elsewhere with what it is that you're fine with over here, you take those practices elsewhere. And I think that's what they're doing. I think that's what the Zionists are doing. They're trying to make America more like Palestine/Israel in such a way to where their approval rating will go up based on the normalization of those behaviors in this place. And that's what I actually think is a big part of what you're seeing right now. Because it's so important to the Zionist Jews, that we mentioned in many videos, that they have support for their behaviors and for their things, the things that they do morally. But when you look around at what we've been conditioned for, and this is what I've said many times in this video, we haven't been conditioned for that in this generation. Now, maybe if it was in the 50s and 60s and 40s and slave days prior to all the progressive stuff that we've gone through, maybe you would have more majority support for such behaviors, absence of those who are being put down by it, but the majority would tend to not look at it so egregiously and with so much offense, as they continue to be exposed to what's going on in those places and exposed to what matters to the people that control these places. They really want to be able to move around putting people down, just like they do in Palestine. They want to be able to do that everywhere. They want to put their flag everywhere, and then they want to take their ideologies and the way that they operate everywhere. And so this is what it looks like. You reestablish a certain intention upon race, an intention upon marginalizing people based on their differences, to instill that normality for the generations to come, for ultimately what they would hope to be able to do everywhere. And that's what I think they're doing. That's exactly what I think is happening there, man. But we the people, I don't know that we haven't learned certain lessons that have made it so that we ignore some of those energies. I don't think that we're in a space where we just simply do that for no reason. We have come together and learned to support one another, or at least stand in solidarity with one another, or at least even more so, just stay away from one another if we can't stand one another, because we understand that this is how we're able to coexist, which is necessary. Instead of making this a chaotic space where places like melting pots like Los Angeles and melting place like Miami and New York aren't burning the place down, people are able to actually live amongst one another because we don't find ourselves being at odds with one another in an aggressive and proactive way. If people have problems with people, they stay away from them. They segregate in their own little neighborhoods, and that be that. But you don't have people on top of one another, fighting one another over race and religion in that degree. You don't. Not to the degree that it appears they're trying to provoke. And I think another portion of what it is they're trying to accomplish is bringing about martial law. And the excuse for bringing forth martial law and different laws that will ultimately, enforce whatever it is their intentions are. And they can't necessarily do that without support, and they can't necessarily do that without probable cause or reasoning for doing so. So if they could stir up enough madness, provoke all of us into acting a certain way, they can then implement those laws, they can then implement those practices that ultimately allow for them to have more control, allow for them to inflict more pain to whatever their desires would be in a lot of cases, and ultimately normalize certain behaviors in this land that, again, they hope to be able to practice in many lands all over the world. And if they can normalize this place in that regard, and people grow into understanding and influencing the world with our way of doing things and our entertainment with those norms in mind, that can spread amongst the world and have more people aligning with whatever it is that they ultimately want to do. They know if they can get America used to a certain thing, that can trickle down to making everybody used to it. It's wickedness, man. A lot of it is driven by pure evil and the desire for chaos, confusion, and pain. A sadistic intention to harm people, to take solace in knowing that they've inflicted pain and that they are feared. And to take solace in understanding that they have done something terrible to God's creation. Is essentially what this is. It's Satanism. A lot of these behaviors don't have a whole lot of purpose behind it other than to just create pain and chaos. There's not much more behind a lot of the stuff that we're seeing today. Dragging people away from their kids. I saw footage of this. I'm not sure where they were. It looked like a place where it was a lot of snow. I was guessing it was Minnesota. It was a Spanish family. These kids were recording from upstairs in their home as they were witnessing and crying about their father being taken by ICE. And you could hear them, in their cries and their sadness. It was genuine. It was terror. They weren't sure what was going to happen with their father. They knew they were taking him away. They didn't know if they ever see him again. These are young kids. They sound like, one of them sounded like she was probably like 7. The other one probably sounded like she was 13 or something like that. And as I was listening to that, I was like, this is what purpose it is. They're trying to manifest more of this. This is the purpose. And you hear their screams, you hear the innocents cry out, and the sadness and the crying. That's really what it is that they're trying to accomplish. They may say they're trying to accomplish other things, and there may be other things that they're hoping to accomplish with all of these things, but nothing more fruitful to them than creating a terror within the heart of the innocent. I kid you not. As I was listening to their cries and listening to their screams, that's what the Holy Spirit was putting in my heart. Like, yo, this is what they're doing this for. That this What you're listening to that makes you sad, that makes others who have a heart sad, is ultimately what makes it all worth it to the people behind all of this. They want to do this. If they can manifest enough of this in the hearts of the innocent, any of the losses that they take make it worth it. And that's exactly what I think. I think they just want to instill fear in people. They want to create sadness and chaos and terror in the hearts of the innocent, man. That's what they want to do. They want to take those with a whole lot of hope, and they want to instill trauma in their hearts. They want to have them messed up out here. That's what it is. They're hoping to instill enough trauma, enough damage, enough hurt in their hearts to hopefully manifest them into becoming demons or broken or strung out or just, evil in their own right in whatever way. They're hoping to multiply on the evil that they are. As I always say, the devil wants to increase his numbers. And so if he can instill terror in the hearts of the innocent early enough, he believes it's worth it. And so that's what it is that you're seeing here, man. That's what's going on. That's what you're fighting against. That's what this is all about, in my opinion. All of it. Land grabs, genocide, all of it. Even the stuff that we're not considering that's aligned with that. Selling drugs to people in their communities. Having people dying early over bad foods. All of it. All of it is about instilling terror in the innocent. All of it. All these practices that are meant to have people mad at one another and, having to stand up and fight for their rights, having to stand up and fight for their honor and all of that. They're hoping that they can have people dead so that young kids can cry. It's dark. It's about as dark as it gets, but that's exactly what it is. And so I want people to understand that our only solution is to effectively assure that as minimal of that is possible. That's the only way we can truly win and defeat the enemy, is to, at every turn, minimize any possibility of what it is that I just described. You will have to stand up and fight, but don't be offering yourself up to slaughter unless you don't see no other way. Because at the end of the day, whatever the enemy's hovering around, it's meant simply to make your kids and that innocence around you unhealthy, unsafe, and ultimately in sadness and terror. That's all they are really about. That's all. So if they can provoke you into a rage that ultimately has your life cut down, if they can provoke others into a rage which ultimately takes them away from their families, that's exactly what the enemy's about. That's what he has people immobilized to do. That is exactly what he's trying to accomplish here. I feel a great deal of sadness for those people who are immigrants in this country right now. Even if you have your papers, I feel a great deal of sadness for how they're treating you. And my heart and prayers go out to you. I've prayed a great deal that this would end long before it even got to this point. I was already praying that this would end. Because as I said, growing up in Los Angeles, I've always been aware of this fear that ICE has instilled in the hearts of people who didn't deserve to have anything bad happen to them. Good people, helpful people, kind people, brave people, unselfish people, people who mind their own business, etc. People who do not deserve to be put in prison, who've not done anything that would be considered wrong on the earth. White supremacy has created a scenario for which these type of people are considered to be wrongdoers, and then are treating them as if they're violent criminals because they have the rhetoric to back. What you did was make something that isn't wrong technically illegal so that you can inflict pain on innocent people. That is exactly what white supremacy is doing And it's right on brand with everything it tries to accomplish. All the time, anywhere, throughout space and time. That's the devilish entity that it is. It's always looking to inflict unprovoked and unnecessary pain, to label innocent people horrible people. This is what it's always done in one way or another. It's always trying to take something from somebody who's not doing nothing, trying to bully somebody for the sake of his own weakness not being exposed, or in hopes that it wouldn't be exposed as weak, though it is in that action just the same. It's none the wiser. It tries to inflict pain so that it doesn't look weak, man. That's what it does. Devil's a liar, man. That's really what it comes down to. He's a liar, a cheat, and a loser. And anytime he has a chance to deceive or manipulate language to fit what it is he wants it to be, or manipulate laws so he could label somebody who doesn't deserve to be considered bad, a bad guy, and then proceed to be able to treat them bad, and then relish and smile in the sadness of themselves and their youngins. That's what it is. That's what it does. It inflicts terror, pain, and it relishes in that. It smokes cigars in that regard. Anytime it has an opportunity to do that, it sees it as a worthy victory. I'm telling you, that's what it's about. That's what it's all it is. It ain't about much else. It ain't. A lot of that other stuff is smoke and mirrors. It's straw man, as people say, straw man circumstances where you could prop something up to knock it down and say, see, this is what it is. So a lot of what is going on is in that vein. It's not really actually the crux of what's motivating it or what it's hoping to accomplish. It just wants to inflict terror, man. It just wants other people to suffer so it can feel good about itself. It's literally it. That's all white supremacy has ever been about. That's all Israel has ever been about. Zionist Jews, that's really all they're about. And they believe lies, and they believe themselves to be the victim as a means of coercing themselves into spaces that allow for them to be this way without actually asking or welcoming any accountability. Because, of course, they're the victims. Of course, everything's evil pointed at them. Nothing that they do does, hurts anybody else in their mind. It's all justifiable by way of some religious lie that they telling everybody, and that they agree to, whether they believe it or not. It's just agreed, they agree to do it. That's why they don't actually manifest any real respect from anybody who's not compromised. We look at them and we laugh at these talking points, Hamas and all this different stuff, because we know they don't even believe this stuff. They're just hoping that it would be justifiable, that their means of their behavior would be justifiable if they spew said narrative and rhetoric. They don't believe it. I don't think they believe. Most people will believe it, but as long as they can say it, it's a justifiable means based on how things are set up in this world. People need rhetoric, needs to be able to justify certain things. If you kick me in my leg, I can kick you in yours. But if you didn't kick me in my leg, then there's no justifiable reason for me to kick you in your leg. So if I run around and tell people you've kicked me in my leg, then I can kick you back and not have anybody look at me and say, see, you're doing something unprovoked. See, you don't have any justifiable means for your behavior, and you're condemnable. That word condemn means a lot to these demons, because they know the Lord condemns them. So anytime they get a chance to condemn somebody else, they feel like it's them taking a bite out of what it is that's ultimately been them, taking a bite out of them. Condemn those people. See what they're doing? Condemn them. Why is that so important? My condemnation is so important? Didn't you notice how these assholes are always trying to provoke someone into condemning someone else who likely didn't do anything wrong, who likely is not doing anything but reacting to being provoked? Condemn that behavior. No, I'm not condemning shit. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong at all. They're just reacting to what you did to them. And I would too. And if I did those things to you, you would react the same. And nor would you be accepting of any condemnation upon your name in reaction to the behavior that you ultimately provoked into. But the first thing they want to do when they say they don't agree with somebody's behavior that they likely provoked is demand that somebody else on the sideline condemn the behavior, as if there's so much power behind condemnation. There is no power behind condemnation, just like there's no power in watching a child cry. They just relish in it because that's how petty they are. That's how evil they are. They love seeing someone condemn somebody that they don't like for whatever reason, regardless if that person actually did anything. They want to take these people land and don't want them to fight back, want them to bow and kiss their feet. And if they don't, if they decide to defend themselves, all of a sudden the action of defending themselves becomes condemnable. Nah, that's not condemnable. That's not condemnable. They haven't done anything. If you didn't start anything, there wouldn't be anything. So why would there be any condemnation pointed at the people who are reacting to the behavior that you ultimately engaged in? You went over there and kicked them in their leg. Now they kick you back, and all of a sudden I'm looking at them as the bad guy, and you sitting up there crying, victim? Nah, friend, no. We're not going to ignore that you kicked them first, and that if you wouldn't have kicked them, there would be no kick coming from them. And this is what it is. This is how they operate. And they demand that the onlookers condemn the person they kicked when kicked back. This is what they do. And they look at you like you're a bad guy, or like you supporting of something that's not acceptable when you don't condemn the people that they've kicked. Once kicked back. Nah, not me, buddy. I'm not that type of stupid, nor am I that type of compromise. You don't instill that type of fear in my heart, nor should you expect that any of this is actually believed. And I don't think they care that any of this is believed. They just want compliance. They're not looking for authenticity in anything because they believe in a bunch of lies. It's not about truth. It's about compliance. It's about what they force you into doing, and what they force you into saying, and what they force you into acting as if you believe. There's no authenticity needed. They don't have any authenticity behind what it is they're doing. So they don't need authenticity from you. They just need full compliance. They don't give a damn that you hate what they've done. You got to say you love what they've done, and they're cool with that because they fake. So they don't mind everybody being fake. They don't believe in nothing real. So they don't mind that you don't believe in what they're saying, the lies that they tell. It's just that you comply. It's that you be compromised and fearful of them enough to comply to the intentions that they have to control everything. Everything. They don't care that you don't believe that rhetoric or that you didn't buy what they are selling. They don't care. It's your compliance that is demanded upon. You could be fake all day long. In fact, they're trying to influence fakeness. They don't want genuine stuff. They are at war with the truth. So they're not interested in anything genuine. They just want the compliance. Hamas the bad guy. No, the fuck they're not. Yes, they are. I don't believe that. I don't care. Just say it anyway. And if you comply and behave the way we want you to, we have peace on earth, because now we're in control of your behavior. You're at war with what it is you truly believe versus what it is we tell you. And you're losing that war because you're going on with what it is we tell you. And that's the essence of the devil controlling the earth, forcing you into spaces that make you betray what means most to you for the sake of the fear that you have for them and the power that they have over all. Thus making you condemn the faith that you have in God and putting aside your faith in something greater than them for the sake of what it is you're afraid they're going to do to you. Therefore, you have put down your faith, and that is the essence of what the devil is trying to do in the world. Turn people away from God, away from faith. That is the essence of what it is that they're trying to do. See how that all ties in? It's ultimately what it's meant for. It's to turn the devout into complied wicked ones. Take those who have all the faith in God and turn them into people who are afraid of fake people. People who don't want anything real but the terror that they instill in those who are innocent. It's the only genuine energy that they ultimately are trying to provoke in this world. It's terror. Everything else fake. Everything else they're trying to provoke, counterproductive. I'm telling you. I understand this entity. That's what my Lord put me on this earth for. It's to explain this to y'all. So that you don't be confused when they behave in the ways that they are. Why are all the things that they tell so easily debunked? All the lies that they tell so easily debunked? How crazy would I look if I walked the streets telling everybody things that could be easily debunked just by one glance at me? I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm a Caucasian man. I got green teeth. Like, you can look at me, you could clearly see, like, yo, this person is not telling the truth. Are they saying? They engage in this behavior all day long, if you notice. If you're paying close enough attention, they do this. They know damn well that these things can be easily debunked. All of it. Most of what they say, easily debunked. And the people they have control over, they behave the same way. Look for that. Lies that are easily debunked, that they have no problem telling. It's what they do. And they look at you crazy if you don't comply to the lie. They didn't ask that you believe the lie. They just asked that you comply with your rhetoric. Yes, that's what I saw. What they said is what I saw. Yes, what it is they said is exactly what it is. And we have a big problem with whatever it is they said. You know what I'm paying attention to right now? NBA Youngboy. NBA Youngboy very recently came out and said that with his last album, they asked him what he was trying to imply with an album called Massa, M-A-S-A. And he said, whatever Donald Trump is trying to imply is exactly what I'm implying. Whatever he said, I'm implying. Whatever he said, I am implying. Now, if my memory serves me correct, did Donald Trump not pardon NBA Youngboy? I know NBA Youngboy was in prison with what looked like could be 1,000 years, and now he's out on tour making millions of dollars. I know that. And what is Donald Trump? Who's Donald Trump controlled by? If our speculations and what it is that we're reading in regards to tea leaves is correct, and he controlled by Israel, the Zionist Jew, aren't they moving him? He's, as I always say, he got his hand up. They got their hand up his butt, and he's moving and behaving as they would move and behave. He's being used to do their bidding. Right? And what is it that I just said that they want to do? They want to force compliance, right? It's not that you believe anything that you say. It's that you align and comply with what it is that they say. And I look at NBA Youngboy. What are you trying to imply with your last album? Whatever Donald Trump said. Whatever he's implying with his rhetoric was what I'm implying with my album. That speech is a breadcrumb for a spirit like me to understand. Yep, you're telling me everything I need to know, little brother. You're telling me everything I need to know. Because it's exactly what they demand of you. Not think. Not try to make sense. Just read the script. Whatever they want me to say, that's what I'm saying. Whatever it is they trying to say, that's what I agree with. Whatever the hell they got going on, that's what I'm rolling with. Whoever they don't like, I condemn. If they said it went down that way, that's what happened. Evidence, I don't see evidence. Naysayers, terrorists. Anybody that otherwise speaks against what it is they talking about, terrorists. Anyone that has a heart for the people that they hate, terrorists. Anybody that tries to feed the starving people in the places that they ultimately trying to starve out, terrorists. Whatever they trying to say is what I'm saying. Whatever they need me to say is what I'm saying. Whatever they would prefer come out of my mouth, essentially I'm telling you, place there, because that is all I'm saying. That's what it is. Full on and utter compliance. Full on compliance, fam. Forget what you thought. Forget what you see. Don't put 2 and 2 together. Don't even count to 3. Full on compliance. You will act as they want you to act. And as you do, then you will find favor in their hearts. Otherwise, you have no favor. Whatever you put together in your own mind, whatever you think, Whatever you saw and then I have a problem with, or whatever made you say, uh-oh, something's not right, you ignore all of that and you go on exactly what it is they say. Otherwise, you're an enemy of them. And you line up with the rest of the people they call terrorists, and then they will stand behind whatever narrative and do to you what they feel, in hopes of instilling terror in your children. Some of y'all say, yo, Brandon is talking wild, it's crazy. No, that's exactly what's there. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking down, I see cement, I look over there and I see what I just meant. When I said what I said, I see what I meant. I look down, I see cement, I look at them, and you see what I meant. It's just what's there. The Lord didn't wire me to be afraid of them or to not understand them or not understand the root behind what they do. He made me very aware of what it is they do so that I wouldn't go along with what they do while in the belly of the beast they control. This is the Lord's defense. This is how he protects his souls. This is how he protects his people. He creates enough of us that are bold enough to speak the truth in the presence of this environment so that they wouldn't go unchecked, so that they can't just run around and saying whatever we say is what it is and that's it, and instilling fear in the hearts of many. Some of us actually believe in God in a way that's not going to be wavered by the presence of man, the powers of man, for which is not real power at all. He don't have no real power. He has sway. Just like a psychological situation where one small little guy has the big, huge, monstrous man doing whatever he says. When he had that big monstrous man can just stomp on him, but he never will because he has his brain like that. That's ultimately what they're trying to do to the rest of us. They want to have us, the strong, following their little midget asses. Excuse my language, the M-word is derogatory, but hey man, I'm speaking. Sorry. But that's what they're trying to do. Have us doing what they say when they're not stronger than us. They're only stronger if we comply to the psychological stranglehold that they have on us, which we have to comply with in order to be in place. It ain't gonna work. Not with me. I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing. I don't expect to live that long. I'm being completely honest with you. So they're not about to have me like that. I'm gonna tell the truth. I value the truth. I value the preservation of human life. I value the laughter and the happiness in the child. I condemn that for which makes a child cry and sad and all that shit. I'm the opposite of them. I ain't ruling with them. I don't care what they talking about. I don't care what they selling. I'm not interested in complying with them. They the devil. I don't want to comply with the devil. He's a loser. I understand him. You know what they say? If you knew better, you do better. I know better. Comply with the devil on anything. That doesn't mean that I'm above reproach. That doesn't mean I'm not tempted by evil things at times. That doesn't mean that I can't find myself at war with the flesh and all of that. That's not the case. I'm a human being. And I've made mistakes. But as it pertains to aligning with the powers of man who are controlled by the devil, who are swayed by fake and phony and the cries and the fears inside of a child's heart, no, I'm not moved by that. That doesn't move me. I'm not interested in deteriorating, racial relations or outcomes that ultimately have led us to a place of peace, so that the evil ones in control of the minds of many can feel like they're the almighty beast. No, I'm not rolling with any of that. They don't have enough in their back pocket to make me trust that is a good decision for my mind. It's never gonna happen. Never. I have a relationship with God that's getting stronger by the second. And the stronger it gets, the more comfortable and more confident I feel I should speak. And a lot of what it is they think they have control over, as I've told you many times, they don't have control over it at all. They're going to lose everything they have. And then all that's going to be left is the natural, God-given condemnation for the evil that they've engaged in. And furthermore, the evidence of the lies that they tell, which is always in place. And they're going to have to live without that compliance that they ultimately demand. They're going to have to live without seeing people sad and crying and all this other stuff that they ultimately trying to instill. They're going to have to live with the fact that God is real and that they do, in fact, believe lies and are at war with the truth. Engage in lies and demand that others engage in those lies, whether they believe them or not. That is what's going to be left. That's what they got. That's what's coming for them, too. They understand it. That's instilled in few of us. It's going to be instilled in everybody eventually. The devil is a loser, man. Above all else, he doesn't win. When you start to understand that fully, then you know not to follow him anywhere. You know not to engage in the folly that he engages in. You know not to be impressed by the things that he flashes in your face. You know better than to align with anything that he ultimately tells you to comply with, or be silent in the presence of the wrongdoing that he engages in, or any of that. You don't have to do none of that. He's a loser. He's not going to win. You ever seen a game where the guy that ends up losing was up, winning in the game? You know, see a team look like they're winning, all of a sudden somebody makes a great comeback. That's what's going on there. Devil looks like he's winning. He's going to lose. Don't bet on him. He's going to fail. So I'm here to tell people. And it's okay to be frustrated about not winning the game at the moment. Don't be confused about how the outcome's going to be. Don't be confused with today being forevermore. No, that's not how this works. There's still more time left. There's still more folds of the calendar, so to speak. And as things transpire, you will understand that your faith was ultimately a better predictor than your concern. You see what I'm saying? Being fearful of the enemy. He's a loser. Don't care what the score say. He's going to lose. And when you have that certainty, that unwavering faith that's connecting you to something that's greater than him, that's greater than everything, then you understand, hey, man, I ain't got to be worried about what the score says. I'm worried about that. God told me I'm going to win. God told me we're going to win. How the heck am I worried about the score? You worry about the score when you have no foresight, when you have no idea what's coming. If God, who knows everything, is telling you, hey, I'm about to win, then the only thing you need to do is stand on his side. That's it. You ain't got to worry about what the score say. The score is irrelevant once the guy who predicts everything to be true tells you what's about to happen. And that's what I'm telling everybody, man. I'm not afraid of the devil in no form, fashion, at all. And I don't expect that you will be either if you listen to what I'm saying and you believe what I'm saying to you. And something that relishes in lies and deception and is at war with the truth and demands compliance, whether convincing or not, nah, man, that's stupid. That's stupidity, man. I'm not aligning with that. That's dumb. Why would I align with that? Something that calls itself extremely powerful but is at war with the innocent, at war with the poor? What am I worried about that for? An entity is so insecure that it has to attack the weakest of us all to feel like it's winning this most devastating war. Think about that. They have control over so much, but the entity that they're most afraid of are people who don't have anything and can't do anything, who've been under their thumb ever. The weakest of us all, more or less. Weak as it pertains to our resources. That's who they most at war with. They control over all of this, but they trying to destroy people who don't have anything. They call themselves being afraid of people who are throwing sticks and stones. Don't you see here that there's insecurity that's driven that? That's insecurity that drives that, not actual threat. It's a big bully. That's all it is. A bully that picks on everything small, everything weak, everything innocent, everything that's otherwise too good to attack it first. That's who they are trying to go after. You think I'm going to be afraid of a bully? I know he's a coward. It's a scared child inside of that thing. That thing ain't nothing real. No real person going to be going around picking fights with people that are smaller than them or can't do nothing to them or would never hurt a fly. And they most at war with that entity. That type of energy is what they're most at war with. That's who they see as their greatest threat. And they demand compliance upon the narrative that entity is its greatest threat. I'm supposed to fear that? Come on, man. Stop playing. Sometimes you got to use your brain. You got to see through a spiritual lens and just say, yo, that is not strong. I don't care how much it controls or what it got a hold of. It's not strong because it keeps attacking the weak. It's identified its weakest opposition and demands that we all agree that it's its greatest threat. And I'm supposed to be afraid of it? Come on, man. Come on, man. Video 44. I thank you all for watching.